Hello, welcome, welcome. Danny, Nancy, and everyone else who is here. Welcome, Lisa. Nice to be with you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from Mexico. So I'm really excited to be here with you today, and we'll give a few moments for people to join in. And as we do that, please feel free to say hello in the chat if you're new, if you're not. Give an emoji, share where you're coming from. Oh, you can't hear me. Okay, can you hear me now? I imagine you can. Okay, thank you. I was going to ask, and then I thought, no, surely they can hear me, so I don't need to ask. So there's proof that I get to follow my inner guidance. Great. So I was saying things, but anyway. Welcome everybody. Danny, Nancy, Lisa, Alex, Butterfly Rain, Kat, Karen, Wendy, yay, Kat, Rose, welcome. So I was saying, I'm super excited to be here with you all today for energy givers and energy drainers in your life. So we will give just a few minutes for people to join in, and then we'll get started. So I know many of you already, and if you haven't said hello and you care to, if you're new, if you're rejoining, you can share where you are in the world. You can give an emoji about your mood for the moment. Yeah, whatever you feel to contribute to the space, or if you are feeling to observe, then that's totally welcome as well. Hello, Rochelle. Great, I am doing very well, thank you. Lisa, that's very specific. West Central Indiana. I guess because it's sort of a long state, it's helpful to say not just West. Yeah. So I am joining you from Mexico. And yeah, I'd like for everybody to drop in the chat just one word of what's alive in you right now. What's alive in you right now? And you might want to take a breath, close the eyes. What's alive in me is expansion. Ooh, hope, positivity. Wendy, glad you're here, although feeling challenged, and that you've held it together. So I'm wondering, and it'll be interesting to see Wendy and anyone else who's also can relate to them, if energy drainers and energy givers have played a role in being challenged. So that could be interesting to think about. So we'll just take a few breaths together. And breathe in just the energy of things that give you energy. And breathe out the things that drain your energy. And we're going to dive deeply into what all that is and could be for you, so others can relate. Yeah, and you know, the benefit in thinking about it in this way is it empowers us. And when we have this distinction of energy givers versus drainers, we can then put things into categories and then think about, okay, what are the things that expand me, build me up, give me energy versus the things that drain me. And then I can choose, you know, to bring in more energy givers and release the drainers. So if you are new to me, please give me a follow. You can click here. There will be a card that pops up, hopefully in a second. There it goes. The energy of a yawn. That's kind of an energy giver, isn't it? Danny. Interesting insight that you're feeling into, feeling it in your body, that you deserve feeling love, joy, and happiness, and that you are noticing that you're choosing otherwise. And that's such an important distinction, that it's a choice you're making. And I really acknowledge you for that, because that's a frame I bring in a lot in my one-on-one coaching, because it's like, I have to go to work, I have to do this or that, but actually it's not true. Everything is a choice. I am choosing to go to work. I am choosing to stay. And that gives us back our power. So I love that you said that. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing. I'm also going to share, I do have a live, I need to look at my schedule, and I don't have the card to share because I forgot to add it. So Friday morning, I'm also very excited about another live stream I will be hosting called Expectations versus Agreements in Life and Relationships. So you definitely don't want to miss that one. Mark that on your calendars. It is at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Sunday morning, as always, I can share this card with you, is our weekly spiritual guidance from the cards. So, yeah. And please follow me here. I'm also on everywhere else, so give me a follow everywhere that you are, that you can find me if you choose. You can check my link here in my teacher profile and find out everything you may want to know. So, we all have things in our lives that fuel us or expand us or give us energy or drain us, right? So our talk today is about becoming aware of these patterns. And then again, choosing. Already this empowering word is coming in. Choosing to be more aware of what gives you clarity, energy, and power. Ooh, instinct versus obligation. I like that distinction. Hi, Rose. It looks like we've got 2 Roses here. Awesome. Unless Rose just changed their picture. So, I want to just share some examples about how this can show up. First, I'll give, well, it's like, it's human, right? We all can relate to this stuff. But I'm thinking about things with my coaching clients that I support them in getting clarity on, and then taking action to change, the pattern. And then I'm thinking about things in my own life as well. Because, so if we think about the energy drainers, right, that's more where the juice is. Because energy givers, they're kind of like the self-care things and stuff like that. But the drainers can show up in hidden places. So recently in my own life, I woke up to the awareness that I was practicing just, I don't even know how to say it, lower vibrational thoughts, and having like a scarcity mindset, or like a pessimistic or a negative mindset. I was noticing there was a negative mindset coming in about, and it was coloring like everything I would think about, of course, because that's what a mindset is. It's like whatever thoughts come through the mindset, they're then filtered through that, and then we see things in that frame. And through a series of synchronicities, I got back into Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations, which 9 years ago, 10 years ago, I was totally into him and doing his meditations every day and living into the energy of how I want to feel and what I want to create, and really living that deeply and profoundly. And I had so many shifts and so many results from doing that. And I just, I'm human, and I got off track for a bit. And so I realized, once I shifted back into the solution, that I was draining so much energy with this, negative mindset. So energy drainers can show up as thinking patterns. How am I thinking about something? What is the lens in which I'm viewing whatever it is? Most of us think the same thoughts every day. Like 85% of our thoughts are the same. So if they're great, that's awesome. That's working. Then that's going to be an energy giver. But if it's not working, those thinking habits and patterns can definitely be energy drainers. So that could be like, what attitudes might you have that drain your energy? What beliefs that you haven't challenged drain your energy? Like, something, this is always hard, or, these type of people are all like always and never statements. That is where those sorts of patterns can come up. And, it's just not helpful. And I had boxed myself in with this recent, thinking and then energy pattern, that when I started shifting it, I was just like, oh my God, I felt it was so distinctly opposite, because it had been so on the one side. And it's not perfect every moment, every day, but I now feel back grounded in the solution, in being empowered in what I want to create, and then feeling lighter, feeling happier as a result. Yeah, it can be such a spiral. And Rose, I'm so glad you brought this up, and I appreciate your honesty and vulnerability right now, and thank you for sharing. And, my condolences again on your loss. Grief and loss, that's a little more sticky because it's a process, right? Grief is a journey. And it's got ups and downs, and depending on when the loss occurred, there's going to be like a refractory period where it doesn't make sense to, try and pull yourself out of a process, and there can be a balance. There can be self-care with grief, and there can be honoring that process. It's not an event that's like it's one and done, as those of us who have lost people or pets know, and that includes all of us, right? So, I encourage you to continue to get outside support for that, and work with the grief, and also looking at, being really gentle. And you can inquire about this for yourself, what's draining my energy, what's giving me energy, and just being super gentle. Yeah. I don't think it would, that's a great question, Rose. I don't think self-care would differ. I think the practices would be the same, the things that would give energy. And I would say it's more important to just, again, be very, very gentle with yourself. Yeah. So this doesn't have to be perfect. And there can be struggle, so I gave an example of like internal energy drainers, right, within myself. But there are many external energy drainers as well, right? First, and I had this in the past. How many of you have had or have a job that's an energy drainer? Have had work relationships, or if you like your job, maybe it's certain people, or maybe it's spouses or romantic partners or friends or family. So this is where we branch out into, the external energy drainers. And this is where what I said earlier about what Danny brought up of like, we choose to be in situations. And I'm not talking about abuse and things like that, but I don't want to get off into, other topics about that. But, you're choosing your job, you're choosing your living situation. And it is a choice, even if it might not feel like it, there is choice. So, yeah. So for those of you who would like to, you can get out some sort of recording thing as far as like a notes app or pen and paper. And we're going to do an energy audit. Or if you just want to, silently think and reflect. And you are going to, if you are using pen and paper, like write a line down the center of the page. If you're in, technology somewhere, then you can just have list 1 and then list 2 and then fill them in. So since we've kind of been already highlighting on the energy drainers, we'll start there since our minds are already in that realm. So, one part of your list, you can write energy drainers. Or if you're just thinking, you can start thinking about this in your own life. And then you can write out or reflect what things drain your energy, what drains your energy, what leaves you tired, what leaves you depleted or disconnected or drained, exhausted. What leaves you tired, depleted, disconnected, drained, exhausted. And again, it could be things inside like habits, thought patterns, energy, patterns within you. It could be external people, places, and things. So we will just give a moment. And if you are like silently reflecting and not recording it down, type it in the chat. Type in the chat one thing or more that's an energy drainer in your life. That's a great one, Danny. Gaslighting yourself into believing you're making a big deal out of nothing and doubting the self. So I'm in the middle of creating my end of self-gaslighting course. So Danny, stay tuned because that will be really helpful for you because that's what the course covers, those things. And it's going to be here on Insight Timer. Kat, the monotony of life is really draining you now. Constant chatter in the mind. Butterfly rain. Hello. So Kat, you don't have to answer this, but I'll just ask you, a question, like a coaching style question. What would a baby step be for you to shift the monotony? What would be the tiniest action you could take to make a difference in that? No time off in years. So is that a situation that I'm talking about is that like do you feel like you're not able to take time off, but you actually have it available? And again, you don't have to answer. Okay, well, great. So you are taking action. Wonderful. Oh, I see. Caregiving. Okay. So not day off in the traditional job sense. And caretaking, that is another sort of like grief scenario that can be really, it's not so black and white or clear cut. And great that you're taking care of yourself. So, anybody who's been writing or typing into a device, care to share one thing that leaves you tired, drained, disconnected, exhausted, that drains your energy? And so, ooh, Danny, these are great. So you're like modeling lots of the internal drainers at play. Taking yourself for granted, allowing yourself to be taken for granted. You know, when I do my visioning process with people, and by the way, I will again offer that as a gift for anybody who's never had a session with me, where we look at where you are in your life, where you want to go, and then look at what's in the way. And when we look at what's in the way of somebody creating what they desire in their life, most of the time, the stuff that's keeping them stuck is everything on the inside, like the patterns and things that you're describing, Danny. So I always say to clients, like I said this just yesterday, I think, like, this is good news, because that means it's all coming from here within you, so you have sovereignty over that. So, yeah. So my next question for you all is, if you look at this list, or if you have, you know, things reflecting in your mind, what is one thing from the energy drainers that you can let go of? What is one thing from the energy drainers that you can let go of? Down talking yourself. Great. Butterfly rain. So a follow-up question for that butterfly rain would be, what system can you put in place to wake up when you notice you're down talking yourself, and then shift it? Like, because it's great to have that intention, and when, you know, thoughts are, they're so close to us, right? Like, so there needs to be some sort of a system, some sort of a practice. Like, when I notice I'm going to XYZ, something like that. Great. That's so you can experiment with that system. You can try it out. Like, give yourself a time duration to do it. And like, for the next X amount of time, that's going to be my priority. And every single time I notice I'm going to rewire with the new thought. Wonderful. So, one example that comes to mind, and this one is, you know, I'll be curious to see what it brings up. In the book Overcoming Under-Earning, this example was given. Hold on. I don't know if anybody could hear that, but it was very loud outside. A woman let go of paying her son's car insurance bill every month because that was an energy drainer. So there can be things like that too. Are you enabling people in your life? And if so, maybe one of your things that you might release from the energy drainers list is not doing that, however specifically that might look. Danny, these are wonderful. And yeah, Kat mentioned too, positive affirmations, like butterfly rain as well. So now we will look at the opposite end of the spectrum. So what are the things that give you energy? So if you're writing on a paper, on the other side of the page, you'll put this, or in the, the next bullet point in your phone or your computer, whatever, your tablet. So writing out the things that give you energy. It might be people, it might be habits, places, spaces, activities. What are the things that give you energy? And so Kat with the caregiving, Rose with the grief, this is where you can really look at what gives me energy, what brings me peace, how do I feel cared for. Ooh, gratitude journal at night, wonderful. And Kat, being outside, dogs, your dogs, the ocean, mountains. Yeah. So it might be, bubble baths or hot showers or calling support, calling a friend, going to a yoga class or meditation, coming into Insight Timer, being on a live stream and community, Wendy's creative outlets, Danny's community, music, nature, and energy healing, totally. So this can be really helpful to have this down concretely as a list, because what's going to happen moving forward after this live stream, you're going to notice, especially if it's the internal energy drainers that people have brought up, you're going to notice that. And then you can look at, okay, what are my energy givers? And you may want to experiment with bringing, consciously in an energy giver every day, maybe an extra one or a new one. For me, my life is an energy giver, I'm so grateful to say, because I live at the lake. It's surrounded by mountains. I live in nature. I walk, 10,000 steps or more a day. I see all my friends and amazing people around everywhere I go all the time. I eat amazing food. I have amazing connections. I love what I do. I don't work. What I do is a passion, and I get to do this. So, yeah. Being here with you is an energy giver, for sure. Animals, definitely. That is something missing from my life, and unless I'm like pet sitting, I'm not comfortable committing to having a pet with my lifestyle. So that is one thing. Hi, Bliss. Yeah, Danny, do you have a question about it, or you're just wanting like examples? And I think that I said too, like, you're going to be moving through your world now differently as a result of this live stream and, you know, this distinction. And so what you can notice is, there's a drainer, you know. Okay, then can I do something that's going to give me energy, like right now specifically? Like, I've been working all day. So for me, an energy giver is, after this, I'm walking. And that does many things for me. Yes, Danny, totally. And even noticing, like me, I'm like, wow, I'm just reflecting here with you myself. I hadn't thought of that before, but a lot of my life is an energy giver. So, and if I'm having a down day, or if I'm feeling especially whatever, drained, or if I've had an interaction or had something happen, then it's like, okay, let me now go to this internal or written energy giver list and see, what can I do? Or it might not even be a doing. It might be a stop doing and not doing. It might be, I'm going to lay in Shavasana on my bed. That might be an energy giver. So every energy drainer has a cost. So we want to really think about this. What is the cost of that negative stream of thinking? You know, for me, like the example I gave for myself, it was costing me joy to be in that energy draining negative thought state. It was costing me joy. It was costing me connection. Yeah. And those are huge things, right? So what do all these drainers cost you? Do they cost you clarity? Like I know Danny said, self-doubt is a drainer. So that's a lack of clarity. It can cost us our health, like over a long period of time. Or if we are engaging in bad habits that drain our energy, if we're overeating, if we're binging on sugar, or if we're, you know, sitting in front of the TV all day and neglecting movement, like that can cost you your health. That can, you know, another way the drainers can cost you your creativity. How many of you have a phone device that's an energy drainer besides me? How many, like, what's the cost of that? I mean, it can be both, right? Depending on your relationship and your usage. But for me, the phone can, like, as a drainer, costs me presence, attention, focus, creativity, costs me time. Tam, welcome. Being able to sleep in, that's nice. Lisa, peace of mind, self-esteem. Yeah, and again, social media, just like the phone is neutral. There's nothing wrong with a phone inherently. It's about how do we relate to it and how do we use it. Social media is the same. Like my Facebook is awesome. My Instagram's awesome because I only see what I want to see and I only see positive things. So when we let go of these drainers, we're letting go of the things that cost us and we're reclaiming our power. Speaking of power, I needed to plug in my computer because the energy is draining from all the live streaming. So, if you are somebody that's being called to create something more in your life, something bigger in your life, you can't afford to keep putting your energy into things that drain you. The cost is too high. Protecting and being mindful and vigilant with your energy is self-leadership. Yes, reclaiming our power is very important. And it's about having that shift again, like I'm choosing to go to work every day. I'm choosing this job. How many others of you have been in jobs where you feel like I have to have this job, I'm stuck here? And I know those of you that know me have heard me tell that story many times of my job that I felt totally stuck in. And then the universe released it. You are not stuck. You're choosing to stay. Somebody needs to hear that. And it might be around a relationship, dynamic, job, country, home. I had a wonderful, thank you. This happened before. Is it any different, butterfly rain? Or is it the same? Or anybody? How's the sound? Okay, great. Thank you very much. This new mic, I don't know, I guess it doesn't like to be plugged in very long, so I'll make a note of that moving forward. Great. Thank you, Jerry. And now I forgot what I was saying. I guess I wasn't meant to. Oh, yeah, I was talking about my job. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Rose. That might be hard to hear for some people. And that's being in that lack mindset and the scarcity mindset. And I know when I felt stuck in my dead-end job, if somebody would have said, you're choosing to stay, I would have been like, but you don't understand, blah, 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 blah. And I would have argued for all the reasons why. Yeah, well, great. Wonderful. And but if somebody here does feel like they don't have a choice, we really get to slow down on that because it's super important. You are not stuck. You are choosing to get up and go there every day. It is your choice. Nobody is making or forcing you to do that. And that can be really empowering, because then if that thought hasn't been in the mind, now moving forward, it'll be like, oh, I'm choosing this. But not as a place to gaslight yourself, but to be like, empower yourself. Then that means I can choose how I relate to this situation Or I can choose to take other action to find something different. Wonderful, butterfly rain. So you took action, and there's more action. There's always action to be taken that can be taken. So this is about being empowered, being a leader for ourselves, being a self-led leader. Because the power, re-grounding into your power is freedom. Then you realize you are free and you're not stuck and nobody's forcing you to do it or do anything. Woo! Wonderful. So what new possibility opens up when you stop feeding the drainers and start letting go? And like I said, just for today, just let go of one. Let go of one energy drainer. Or take action to, depending on what it is. What new possibility opens up when you stop giving your energy to that and stop feeding the drainers and give more space to the energy givers? Because there's a cost, right? We only have a certain amount of attention and energy. I mean, yes, we are infinite, and yes, we have infinite energy and all that. And for the sake of this discussion, we're in the 3D here. We have 24 hours in the day. We have a body. So whatever we're draining and allowing to drain, the cost of that is it's taking up space and room where there can be over here these energy givers that we can bring more in of that. So I want y'all to think about, for this next week or until the next live stream or whenever, letting go. And it could be the micro step, like Butterfly Rain's example of changing negative self-talk. I mean, that's many, many, many micro steps, but it's not like telling somebody, our friendship is over, or so, and if that's what you need to do that. And it can be a micro step. And then you can then think about, okay, how can I bring 5% more, whatever the energy giver is? Maybe I'll go outside. Maybe I'll just pop out and look at the stars whenever I was just planning on not getting out of bed the rest of the night, right? Something like that. So this is the beginning of transformation. First, the noticing, which we really have slowed down on the noticing, and then the releasing and the action, and then choosing differently. Yeah, and the drainers grow. Good point, Danny. Ooh, wonderful. Butterfly rain. So that's the shift of mindset that you're modeling there, from scarcity, lack, negativity, pessimism into possibility. What's possible? I can learn. I can grow. Wonderful. So every time you discern and choose to release the drainers, choose to bring in givers, you reclaim your own inner power. And then that just builds. Like, for me to get here where I am right now in my life, like, I I've been on a long journey, as we all have. But I've had to let go of so much and bring in so much and take so many risks and step out of my comfort zone and stretch and grow and let go, of things that didn't serve me. And I mean, it's never ending, right? So I want to invite any of you who, again, haven't had any sort of a session with me before. The gifted visioning process that I can offer is so in line with this, because we get altitude on your life as it is right now. We look at where you want to go and what you want to create, which that's the giver energy, right? That's the possibility. And then we look at what's in the way and we really slow down. So if you feel the heart's call, send me a message. And we will schedule that. It's a powerful process, really. People have amazing shifts. Woo, it's time for new habits. Amazing. So, if you have an action or an insight, like if you're like, I'm going to whatever, let go or bring in something, share it in the chat or share your insight, what you're taking away from this today. If you care to give a donation, here's the donation card. And I really appreciate all of you showing up today, contributing, or even if you didn't, even if you just took in the session. I know it will be transformative for you moving forward, because you're going to be thinking about these distinctions that are really powerful. And I'm excited for you. Woo! The horses are going by on the cobblestones. Wonderful, Danny. Thank you, Lisa, for the donation. Wendy, who else can relate to Wendy feeling like they're their own worst enemy and getting to choose a different way of thinking? Thank you, Kat. I am appreciative of you joining into the live streams, participating. And thank you to Insight Timer, of course. And changing our thinking. Oh, you guys heard the horses. I didn't know if anybody could. Yeah, that was the horse clomping, clip clop, Nancy. Oh, great. Lost my train of thought again. It's getting a little bit late. That'll be my excuse, my reason. Oh, changing our thinking. I got it. It's just a micro movements. It's a commitment. It's an intention. It's a moment by moment choice. And it's a process, Wendy. I want you to remember this. It's a process, not an event. And Butterfly Rain as well, talking about, shifting into more positive self-talk. if I think about where I was, I mean, I got sober 26 years ago, so I always kind of go back to that as a milestone. But if I think about my self-talk then, and even, 5 years sober, 10 years sober, even 15, there was, it was a slow shift over time, right? I mean, I imagine, I don't recall, but earlier in my life, I just thought, I didn't even know I was thinking because I was so identified. I didn't even know that I had thoughts. I was thoughts, right? So there's that first level of waking up. I don't even know when that happened. And then it was like, oh God, I'm saying all this self-hatred stuff, and then I'm believing it, and then waking up to being able to see that. So it's step by step by step by step. Wonderful, Butterfly Rain, that you are doing without alcohol. And, I know how difficult that is. So, and there's others here that have done that as well. So please join Friday at 1:30 p.m. for Expectations versus Agreements. And also, this has all been streaming also on YouTube. So you can catch the replays there. So you can do that, or you can see it there. And yeah, don't forget, those of you who haven't sat with me one-on-one before, the gifted visioning session, reach out for that. Don't forget, if that's on your heart. See you this weekend for Sunday morning live, spiritual weekly guidance. I like to keep the cards out during the week just to kind of, especially when they're good ones like this. So this is from last session, the beautiful sun energy. So definitely an energy giver. So have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Sending you all lots of loving and energy. I'll see you soon.